trying to get acceptable terms that I think everyone within any sense of fairness would agree needs to occur. After we hold this vote, hopefully it'll be a bipartisan vote. They're going to have 2 weeks before this bill is on the floor. They're going to have 2 weeks before the full House votes on it. And make no mistake, to the Clintons and their lawyers, this bill will pass, and I believe it will pass with Democrat votes, even though I've heard Democrat leadership is whipping to try to get you all to vote no on this. They have had 5 months to comply with this, and to defend the indefensible and try to act like Bill Clinton's a victim here, I think is a stretch. We know who the victims are, and I think if you ask the victims, do you want to hear from Bill Clinton? I'm pretty confident I know what the answer will be, because our staff has communicated with their attorneys. Chair recognizes Mr. Crane.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, this committee hearing is about whether or not we're going to hold the Clintons in contempt of Congress. I strongly recommend that we do, especially in pertaining to the release of the Epstein files and trying to get to the bottom of what exactly went on there and how Jeffrey Epstein was allowed to continue doing what he was doing and abusing so many people for so long. It's interesting when I look at the history of the Congress and look at the fact that Peter Navarro, former Trump trade advisor, who defied the January 6th committee subpoena, was sent to prison for 4 months. Steve Bannon, also a former Trump advisor, defied the January 6th committee subpoena. He was sent to prison for 4 months, and several others. So it's going to be really telling to see how my Democrat colleagues vote on this one. Mr. Comer, how many times, Mr. Chairman, how many times did Mr. Epstein go to the White House in your recollection, sir?
According to the evidence that we've obtained, it appears he went 17 times during the Clinton presidency.
Is that more times than you've gone to the White House, Chairman?
I've been member of Congress for 9 years, and fairly high up on the pecking order. I've been to the White House, I believe, 9 times in 9 years. So he went to the Clinton White House double the number of times that I've been to the White House in my entire congressional career.
Mr. Chairman, how many times did Mr. Clinton fly on Mr. Epstein's plane?
At least 26 times, according to the flight logs that were subpoenaed from the estate.
Right.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Those were 4 different trips, 4 trips, and every time they regassed the plane, they counted that as another trip. But it was Asia, Africa, and they had to refuel. So every time they stopped to refuel, they counted that as another leg of the trip. There are 4 trips, not 27.
That's almost like I didn't inhale.
Reclaiming my time. That's still enough trips for us to want to be able to ask the Clintons questions about their involvement with Epstein. Is that true, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, like I said, I hope that my Democrat colleagues who all of a sudden have found religion, this Congress, and now they want the Epstein files, even though over the last 4 years when they had control of Washington, D.C., you didn't hear a peep about Jeffrey Epstein out of any of them. And so I think it's going to be real telling, how my Democrat colleagues who claim to be all about the victims, how they actually vote on these contempt charges for the Clinton family. And I just think it's interesting, too, that, Mr. Chairman, my understanding is you've been working for the last 4 or 5 months to get the Clintons in here. Is that correct?
5 months, yes, sir.
Did they tell you that they would come in over December 24th and 25th, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
They have implied that they would come in, yes. Okay,
so that just goes to show that they're trying to dodge suggesting dates that they know none of us are in session. And I think that's pretty despicable. The other thing I believe that they said is that you and the ranking member could fly up to New York, but you couldn't record any of the conversations. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Does that sound like any congressional deposition you've ever heard of, sir?
No, and it would be my word against Mr. Garcia's, and I'm pretty confident I know whose side the New York Times would take and the Washington Post would take and MSNBC would take. And look, an investigation, you have to have transcripts, and the media wants transcripts. Well, you have to have transcripts. We don't do the notes. And the Clintons have already accused us of lying, and they accused us of saying this was an unlawful subpoena, which I appreciate Mr. Garcia admitting that it is a lawful subpoena. So I yield back.
I also want to point out one thing that I think has been pretty interesting. When I flew into Washington, D.C. yesterday, my chief of staff told me that he'd been contacted by the Clinton attorneys at least 3 times to try and stop this. So it looks as if they tried to resist you for about 5 months, and once we finally pulled the trigger on it, now they're realizing that this could go very poorly for them. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
That's how it appears, that they could stall, and then when it finally came to this vote, they felt like they could count on the Democrats objecting and a few of the Republicans that the media would go to, and the moderates, and say, oh, is this going to affect your election? Is this going to affect your election? At the end of the day, I think even the media wants to hear from Clinton. We all want to see the documents. So everyone in America that's keeping up with this, which is a majority of Americans.